Hi, this video is about cylinders and how to find the surface area and volume of cylinders. To answer the question that we have here, is this figure a cylinder? Explain why or why not. So the answer to that question is no, this is not a cylinder. Okay, a cylinder looks like this. Why is this not a cylinder and this figure right here is a cylinder? So a cylinder should have two bases that are parallel to each other, opposite and parallel to each other. So here the base is a circle, and we know that there's a circle here too. So since there are two bases and they're parallel to each other, it's called a cylinder. So here we have a base here, but this base is not parallel to this one. So it's not a cylinder. It's not considered a cylinder. Now, how do you find the formulas to discuss about the formulas of cylinder, surface area, and volume of cylinders? I'm going to have to pull this up over here, make it a little more bigger so it's obvious. Okay, so the first question, surface area of cylinders. Surface area. Now, surface areas just means add the area of all the surfaces of this figure, then you get the surface area. So if you think about a cylinder, you know that a cylinder has two bases that are the same, right? So there's a circle on the top and a circle on the bottom which are identical, which are exactly the same, and then you have a surface on the side surface, right? So the side surface has a name. It's called lateral surface. And the bottoms have a name. They're called bases. Okay? So if you think about the surface of a cylinder, you have two bases. Okay? That's the up and the down, two bases. And you have one lateral face. Okay, so to find the surface area, all you have to do is find the area of one base multiplied by 2, then find the area of the lateral and add them all up. So let me show you how you open up a cylinder, what that looks like. Okay, so if you take a cylinder and if you cut it through this line, let's say this height over here, this is the height of the cylinder. If I'm taking a scissors and I'm cutting this, cut it open, this is what it opens up to, right? I have the two circles are my two bases. This is the first base that's over here, and this is the second base that's over here. And this round lateral surface will open up in the shape of a rectangle. Okay? Let's say this is the base and this is the height of the rectangle. So we know that the area of any rectangle is base times height. But if you really think about what is this base of this rectangle, this circle is what opened up to this base over here. So it is the distance around the circle, or in other words, the perimeter of the circle is the base of this rectangle. So this area becomes, instead of base, I have to put 2 pi r, which is the circumference of the circle. 2 pi r is the circumference of the circle. That becomes the base. And the height is the height of the cylinder. So I'm going to put capital H to denote that that's the height of the cylinder. You can also call it an edge. Okay, height or edge of this cylinder. So to complete the formula for surface area, it's 2 times the area of each base. We know each base is in the shape of a circle. So pi r squared is the area of a circle. So 2 times pi r squared, because we have two circles. So area of one circle times 2. Plus the lateral area of this cylinder comes out to be 2 pi r h, because that shape is a rectangle and we found that to be the circumference times the height. 2 pi r h. So this is the surface area of a prism, of a cylinder. Okay. Now lateral area also has a general formula. Lateral area, we shorten it as LA. It has a general formula which is called perimeter of the base times height of the prism. Okay, so these are some of the important formulas for this topic. Now the last formula we want to discuss is the volume formula. Now volume formula is a general formula. It works for every prism. It's base area times height of the prism. Base area times height is the general formula for volume for every single prism. So in this case, the base area, the base is in the shape of a circle, so the base area is the area of a circle, pi r squared, and h is the height of the cylinder. Whatever this edge is, this lateral edge is, goes as the height. So these are the important formulas. So we just discussed the surface area of a cylinder and we discussed the volume of a cylinder. Now let's do some problems. Here, the base of the following right cylinder has a circumference of 9 pi. So let's write down what information is given. The circumference is given to be 9 pi. And a lateral edge of 10. This is called the lateral edge. This is 10. Okay, we can also call it as the height of the prism. So I'm going to put height is 10. The lateral edge is the height. So what's the first question we have to find out? What's the radius of the base? What's the radius of this base? Radius. Okay. So we have that circumference is 9 pi. We know the formula for circumference is 2 pi r. Okay. So that 2 pi r, or the circumference, is given to be 9 pi. So if you solve this equation, you can find the value for r. So you divide both sides by 2 pi. So this will cancel and you get r is equal to, pi and pi will cancel. 9 divided by 2 is 4.5 units. That's your radius of the base. That's the first question. Next one, what is the lateral area of the right cylinder? The lateral area, the formula for lateral area is the perimeter of the base times the height of the cylinder. Okay, so here the perimeter is same as the circumference. We know the word that we use for perimeter, if it's a circle, is circumference. They're both the same, right? So instead of perimeter, we have 9 pi here. So I'm going to put 9 pi times the height is of course a lateral edge, which is 10. So my answer is 9 times 10, 90 pi units. Now let's try another question. The following right general cylinder has a lateral edge of length 15. The lateral edge, remember, is always the height. So that's given to be 15. And the perimeter of the base is 48. The perimeter of the base is 48. The height is given to be 15. What do we have to find out? What is the lateral area? This is the question. We know the formula for lateral area is perimeter of the base times height. Okay, so lateral area is perimeter, which is 48, times height, which is 15. And when we do that, we get the answer as 720 units. Lateral area, so it's unit square actually. When you do area, you have to remember that the unit is square. Next question. A right prism has the base area 16 and volume 80. So the base area is given to be 16 and volume is given to be 80. We have to find the prism's height. H is what's missing. That's what we have to find out. We know that volume is base area times height. That's the formula for volume. Base area times height. So I'm going to write it out here. Volume is base area times height. I know the volume to be 80, so under V I'm going to put 80. I know the base area to be 16, so under VA, which stands for base area, I'm going to put 16 times height. So I can solve for h easily here by dividing by 16 on both sides. So cancel this, you get height is 5 units. 80 divided by 16 is 5. Now I want you to note this one. Sketch the figures formed if the rectangular regions are rotated around the provided axis. So if you look here, this is a rectangle. We know that this is the length and this is the width, or base height, whatever you want to call it. We can call this the length and this is the width. So if I take this rectangle and if I rotate it around its length, okay, so what happens is I get a cylinder, and the radius of the cylinder is the same as the width over here, and the height of the cylinder is same as the length. So if you rotate a rectangle, okay, this is a 2-dimensional figure. When you rotate it, you get a 3-dimensional shape. It comes out to be a cylinder when you rotate it. Same thing if I decide to rotate this rectangle over its width instead of its length. If I decide to rotate it the other way, I still get a cylinder. It's just that the dimensions are different. Now the radius here is going to be the length instead of the width, and the height is going to be the width. That's the only difference. The numbers are switched over here. Okay, so this is 2-dimensional, this is 3-dimensional. If you, just for the sake of explaining this more, if you're picking a right triangle, a 90-degree right triangle, and you decide to rotate this over this longer leg, okay, you get, what shape do you get here? You get a cone. Okay, so if I decide to rotate it over the shorter leg, I still get a cone, except the dimensions will be different. Here, let's say if this is 5 and if this is 10, this distance here will also be 5. This will be 10. So the radius of this cone, the radius of the base is going to be 5. So, good luck.